I'm sure many of you may have heard by now about the massive recall that has plagued the 25 model year Rogue. When I say massive, I mean massive. And it just comes on the heel of the recall for the 24 and earlier Rogues. So it's Nissan, yeah, but to their credit, they got it fixed. Well, rather than boring you, look out, Boone. Here's Boone. Here's Boone. Say hi to the folks at home, Boone. Rather than boring you with a bunch of technical details and me yapping here as we talk on the video, a couple of things. I want to thank Flagstaff Nissan for agreeing to film the vast majority of this parody video, and how fast they got the Rogue in. I got the postcard from Nissan on Tuesday. I called them Tuesday afternoon, and they had me in Thursday morning. Why did I go to Flagstaff Nissan when I bought it at Larry H. Miller down in Mesa? Let me throw up this no expenses spared graphic to show you why. From my house to Flagstaff Nissan, it's 130 miles. From my house to Larry Miller Nissan in Mesa, it's 130 miles. So you go to Flagstaff, nicer drive, easier drive, and much nicer weather. Let's bring on Cassie to explain some of the details about the recall. Take it away, Cassie. This is in reference to NHTSA recall number 26 Victor 081, which was issued on 2/11 of 2026. The internal Nissan recall numbers are R25E3 and R25E4, and the 081 recall incorporates the earlier NHTSA recall number 26 Victor 080. This affects all 2025 model year Rogues built through April 28th of 2025. Nissan says there will be a 100% failure of the 318,781 Rogues made. And thanks for that. So I'll be explaining more in detail. Rather than me just standing here and boring you to death, we're going to do a drive down the road to Flagstaff, and I'll be yapping over top of that. I-40, there's not a lot of exciting scenery to look at. But before we go, here's a little special treat. So, here we are, arriving at the dealership, and that means it's time for your Nissan computer instability surveillance to move into action. Cassie and Boone liaised with the service manager so that they could set things up for the team. Cassie would have access to the Nissan computer system, and the rest of the team would be in the dealership undercover. People saw me at the dealership and thought I was a Fed. Technically, as a representative of NCIS, Nissan Computer Instability Surveillance, I was there to oversee a high-stakes digital intervention. My car was suffering from software-induced gear stress. Every time I started it, the computer was trying to snap its own throttle gears like a stressed-out executive snapping pencils. While the girls blended in, for the most part, Boone had his own investigative priorities. While the techs and Cassie were busy with the R25E3 software patch, Boone was conducting his own sensor sweep of the perimeter. He's looking for unauthorized scent-based entities, or maybe just a dropped French fry. Cassie made real progress. The original software was a bully.
As the pedal is pressed, the motor turns the gears, smoothly rotating the butterfly valve to regulate the airflow into the engine.
During the startup self-test of the Electronic Throttle Chamber, it would slam the plastic gears against a metal stopper to find the 0 point. The motor was so strong it would literally snap the teeth off. The new software tells the motor to gently nudge the stopper. No snap, no loss of motor power. But who would write software that would order the ETC to self-destruct? Cassie found the culprit. Eugene Fosdick, alleged MIT grad. He would later claim that the ETC system worked in every simulation. No explanation as to why he never tried it in a real ETC before production started. With the first mystery solved, Cassie took a break for some fresh air and to be with Boone. Meanwhile, the Nissan in-house engineers tried to figure out the fried bearing problem. The bearings were thought to be fixed in recall Victor 080. Well, apparently not. The naysayers blame Nissan for inventing the VC turbo in the first place. Too complex, they cry. Let's take a look. Nissan claims that variable compression gives power when needed and better gas mileage during low power needs. In a conventional engine, the connecting rods basically go straight up and down. In the variable compression turbo, the connecting rods are replaced by links. They are what allows the differing compression ratios. The bearings in the links are essential to the changing height of the pistons, requiring proper oil lubrication. As the engine can change ratios as needed several times a minute, the bearings are tasked with keeping everything running smoothly under the hood. To help keep the oil temperature under control, Nissan uses active thermal management, which is controlled by the engine control module, the brains of the engine. The VC turbo engine uses a variable displacement oil pump which can change the flow rate and pressure. The original software would sometimes down-regulate the oil flow when it thought the engine didn't need it, but Nissan discovered that in specific conditions, this lower flow allowed the oil to sit in the hot zones too long, getting too hot. When oil gets too hot, it gets too thin and loses all of its lubricating and cooling properties. Without proper oil temperatures, the bearings were frying, then breaking or seizing up, leading to catastrophic failure. The fix involved two separate methods to keep the oil temperatures in line. One dealt with the compression ratios, while the other worked on the oil pump. The new software tells the engine to drop the compression ratio sooner or more frequently to bleed off heat before the oil degrades. It also tells the oil pump to increase the oil flow rate and pressure during those high heat windows. It's essentially flushing the heat away from the bearings faster than the original code allowed. The active thermal management is now proactive rather than reactive. Fresh from their break, Boone joined Cassie in trying to find out who was responsible for the software that allowed the oil to cook and destroy the engines, a discovery that took no time at all. It was Eugene Fosdick's chief assistant, Penelope Penny Plimpton, another MIT grad. Penny is the one who refined the lubrication overlays to be so dynamic that the engine computer forgot how oil actually works. She doesn't see fried bearings, she sees an unplanned thermal transition. Later, she would defend her original code as being responsible for an increase in 0.001% in gas mileage. With the faulty software identified and new code written, the Rogue could finally leave the service wait queue and be taken into the service department proper, where the highly trained staff would take the necessary steps to properly reprogram the engine control module, a process that should not have taken long. Oy vey! Cassie, having done yeoman-like work in the back office, stepped out to join the rest of the team in waiting for my Rogue. And wait, we did. And waiting. And waiting. And waiting some more. Well, there was my car. Why wasn't anybody working on it? And it was back to waiting in the waiting room. Boone fell asleep and had Booner dreams. Kaylee had some surveillance of her. And then there was a noise from the back service area. Boone went to investigate. Uh-oh, this can't turn out good. But then help arrived. And then he got his good boy treats from one of his favorite people. But then it was back to waiting with coffee. Apparently, the waiting proved too much. So Boone went into the manager's office and said, "Woof, woof, woof." And all of a sudden they said, "Oh, we're done and your car will be brought up shortly." And I said, Don't call me shortly. So it would appear that our trip to Flagstaff was about to come to an end. We could pick up the car and head for home, but the girls had one last little thing they wanted to do. If you own a 2025 Rogue, you may be wondering, is your Rogue involved in this massive recall? Well, there's an easy way to find out. One is to look at the doorpost card located when you open the driver's door. Up at the top, there will be a date of manufacturer. If that date is between July of 2024 and April of 2025, then your Rogue is affected. Or you can go to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's website and look up the recall information. Or you can call your local Nissan dealer and they'll be able to tell you. But anyway, it's fixed. There were no bad parts. The bearings that they replaced in the 24 model years weren't bad. It was all software. And isn't that marvelous that in the third decade of the 21st century, cars are being recalled because of faulty software and not parts?